Good afternoon, Suidlanders, and welcome to Suidlanders, the Week in Review for Friday, the 10th of May 2024. I'd like to begin by mentioning to you that I've just come from a new lodge, Suidlanders owned, on a farm owned by Suidlanders in the Eastern Cape. The farm is called WiR. It is up in the Bamboesberge Mountains between Tarkastad and Hofmeyer. The actual name of the farm is Fontaine, if you'd like to find it, although it's a bit difficult to find on Google Earth or Google Maps if you use the search term. I was meant to be the first guest, but I messed my dates up and ended up being the second, which was a terrific privilege. If you are interested in learning more about the WiR hunting lodge operation, I can give you some details. I'll run through some information quickly. Let me begin with the person to contact. The lady's name is Marguerite. She's the hostess. Her number is 072 776 0045. I must point out to you that it's in an idyllic but remote location, so there isn't always signal. Marguerite will get back to you though. So to give you a rough idea of their offering, kudu R39.50 a kilogram, rooi ribbok R9.50, val ribbok R9,000, springbok R850, takbok reindeer R2,500, vlakvark R20 a kg with the skin on. They do not offer a skinning service for vlakvark. Selfsorg opties, eie beddegoed en handdoek. Now, I can tell you what's provided is a very big, comfortable, spacious lodge, lovely rooms, very old-fashioned, very cozy, clean, newly renovated, spotless, new varnish, new paint, new everything, marvelous, big kitchen. So if we talk about selfsorg, eie beddegoed en handdoek, you obviously get a bed, a mattress with a sheet on it, and you would take presumably your own sleeping bag or duvet. Per hunter, R800, non-hunters, R400. And then there are a whole lot of other options that you can ask Marguerite about. This is not the time and the place to go into fine detail. I will, however, mention to you that there is a full house option, which is Marguerite's catering, Marguerite's food, and you will never, not ever in your life get that value for money. I can promise you, and I can tell you that many people who've been with me prior to the lodge being built and opened will tell you the same, that the catering is just fantastic. No hunting on Friday nights or Saturday. They keep the 7th day. Night hunts, extra R1,000 per hunter, and so on and so forth. Give Marguerite a call. You will not regret it. Now, to the news. On the 31st of March, which is certainly not this past week, but it only came to our notice this past week, and it is worth mentioning, Dr. Geert van den Bosch claimed in an interview that in the coming months there shall come a sudden tsunami of acute fatal illness among the vaccinated. Now, Dr. Geert van den Bosch, some of you will know, is the foremost specialist in this field and has been for many years. The most published in the world, has done the best research, most highly regarded. He's kind of the Muhammad Ali of this field, as it were. And we mention it because, of course, we're looking at the tremendous flu outbreak in the Eastern Cape at the moment. By no means are we suggesting that we should conflate the two, that they're one and the same thing, or that the one has caused the other, but we are all right now very conscious of the fact that out of the blue has come this tremendous, quite remarkable, spectacular flu pandemic in the Eastern Cape. I spoke to one of our senior Saidlanders leaders from the Eastern Cape a few days ago, and he said you cannot get a doctor's appointment anywhere within a week, which is really quite something. We received the bad news this week that BNP Paribas, Banque Nationale de Paris, Paribas, the 6th largest bank in the world, is calling it quits on South Africa and is on its way out. It shall no longer provide banking services in South Africa. The Mail and Guardian reported a few days ago that pilchards has surpassed chicken as the most favored protein in South Africa, according to the Competition Commission's Essential Food Pricing Monitoring Report. Released on Monday past, the report showed that the avian flu outbreak, first reported at the beginning of June 2023, pushed chicken prices up to an unaffordable level. It goes on to describe how many broilers were slaughtered, culled, and how much the price rose, etc., etc. But the gist of the story is that pilchards, in other words, a pilchard is an adult sardine. A sardine and a pilchard are the same thing. Those of you who know the sardine run in Natal, those are in fact pilchards, technically speaking. The adult of the sardine, and those are adults in the sardine run on the upper south, or the south coast of Natal in winter. The gist, as I say, is really, where do we go from here? Where does the average South African go after pilchards? I did some pricing on my way here. I stopped in at a shop and had a look at polony, and it seems to me that although polony may be a very, very inferior source of protein, and that kind of cheap ham, that they're not, as far as I can work out, cheaper, or certainly not much cheaper than pilchards. What do you eat? What meat do you eat if you cannot afford lamb and mutton, beef, goat, pork, and pilchards? There is nowhere left to go. It is a dire testimony on the state of affairs in South Africa. France has now apparently sent regular troops into Ukraine, and it may be described as public and not clandestine. Hitherto, many of you will be aware that there were allegations from the Russian side that the French were involving themselves in Ukraine. The French denied it, saying, by no means are those our troops, they're mercenaries, there's nothing we can do, it's not our fault. The Russians said, you're lying, and we know that you're lying, but there's not much we can say. However, as we understand it, as we are getting so many reports at the moment, the French have now sent in regular French troops under, as it were, the French banner, as opposed to some kind of a mercenary fondle standard, and they're making no secret of it. We've also learned the alarming news this week that Germany is allegedly busy sending in 35,000 of its troops. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very serious. That means that under law, Russia is entitled to treat France and Germany as participants to the war in Ukraine, and it may therefore 100% legally strike targets in those countries. But it gets worse. Last weekend, David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, who is now the Foreign Minister, he was called out of retirement. He came in from the cold, as they say, declared that the Ukraine is entitled to employ British armaments on Russian soil, to employ them. In other words, to strike Russian targets on Russian soil. On Monday, Vladimir Putin's response was to order tactical nuclear ballistic missile rehearsals within this week, to happen within this week. Doubtless they have occurred already, and we shall soon get good reports of them. On Tuesday, we saw the inauguration of Vladimir Putin as Russia's president again. There isn't too much to remark on the event. He didn't say anything of exceptional note in his inaugural speech, but it is worth noting that this has been a particularly busy week as far as Ukraine, Russia, and related matters are concerned. And lo and behold, yesterday was the day of the 79th, since the end of World War II, 79th annual Russian, previously Soviet, now Russian, Victory Day parade on Red Square next to the Kremlin Cathedral complex. That's what it originally was. A series of apartments, royal apartments and monasteries and cathedrals and so on. Again, we don't have anything especially interesting to report on yesterday's 79th Victory Day parade, except to say that it was very big and it was very impressive, and one can only wonder what will be the state of the world if the weapons that we saw in yesterday's Victory Day parade were ever fully deployed or indeed employed on the West, on NATO, on the USA. A very famous rabbi from the 1700s, from Vilnius in Lithuania, one of the greatest religious minds ever to live, once wrote World War III would be 12 minutes long. He said that he discovered that in a secret code in the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah if you like, the Pentateuch if you like, the books of Moses if you prefer, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers and Deuteronomy. And he refused to divulge the code, this secret thing. And of course, for going on 300 years, 250 years anyway, nobody understood what he meant. But now there are many very, very wise heads saying that perhaps it is not, what he said was not allegorical or metaphorical, but was in fact 100% literal. We appear to be staring down the barrel of a large gun in these dim times. Fortunately for us, we have Saatlanders, we have a national emergency plan, we have one another. May God be gracious to us in the days, weeks, months, and years that lie ahead of us. Thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye and God bless you all.